Stateline opened, I think I was probably 14 or 15.
Okay.
Well, then Skyline, if I remember right, said that if you race at Stateline, you can't race here, we won't pay you, or something to that effect. And I recall one time they had just short of a riot.
Really?
Fans were out on the track. Yeah, oh, it was a bad news deal, I'll tell you. Oh yeah, Skyline was just, it was a practically round. It was, that was a bull ring. And Stateline had straightaways.
Okay.
But you sat in the bleachers in Stateline, you could just barely see the top of the cars on the back stretch.
Was that right?
The infield was so high.
When you hear the name Dean Layfield, at least when I was a young kid going there, he was sort of elevated above other folks. Just that, I'm not sure why that was.
He was a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a winner.
Is there anything distinctive in his driving style that you?
I don't know about his driving style, but his number was distinctive, 9/16.
Yeah, right.
He had exhaust that came out through the roof, if I remember right. On at least one car, if I remember. Oh, you know, I think everybody came to watch Bobby Snars and Squirt Johns. I really do. I mean, I don't think there was a person up there that didn't like either one of them. I mean, they were the stars. Mm-hmm. Say about Bobby Snars, I mean, he was the star.
What made him so good, you sense?
Won a lot of races.
Yeah.
And he was smooth. And he didn't show up every week like some do and did with the car all banged up. And I can remember he used to go to the Atlantic Station in Sugar Grove, if I've got this story right, and buy Firestone Supreme tires because they had kind of like an inner liner in them. And that's what he would run. I suppose Squirt Johns was one of my favorites. He was probably the favorite.
You remember Jughead Pierce?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you love it when he smiles? You know, he's got something to say.
Well, there's so many stories that I've heard about Jughead, you know, that I probably shouldn't repeat them because you'd like to know, some of them you'd like to think weren't true.
Well, we've heard most of them, so go ahead.
Like beer in the fire extinguisher. And I can recall one time the fire department in Sugar Grove had the concession stand in the pit. And in come Don. Oh, he was really upset. He'd lost his billfold. And he says, I just found it. He was brush hogging and it fell out of his pocket. It was out in the parking lot in about 1,010,000 pieces. Oh, yeah, that poor guy was sick. And Jim Scott, he was always rubbing against the wall. I think he had a sign on the back of his car, "Hello, wall." Of course, Tom Dill, you know, he must have had a riot there. Still remember rolling that guy's car over, putting it up on top of the guardrails for him.
Tell us about that.
What was it? The guy wanted him to try the car out because it was pulling to the right or something. And he pulled to the right. He put it right up on the guardrails. For the guy. I always went to the pits.
Did you ever take a car and go out and
Oh, we were I had a twin brother. He died in '97. And we were in cahoots with Vance Shagla. He had an old 49 or 50 Ford, F-126. So you know where Bear ended up with his number to start with. I remember going around the track with that car one time, and boy, this thing's really going. Probably was doing 45, you know. Hit the turn, and I come so close to falling out of the seat. Well, gosh, you gotta have the seatbelt tight, I guess. I almost fell out of the seat. A little story about Bear Shagler. When he was racing spectator class, well, maybe it was a cadet even. He says, I was going faster than I ever went in my life. And he says, Dick Barton passed me twice in one lap. He used to take care of all the groceries for the pit stand, and three of us used to help set it up every Saturday. We'd go up at 4 o'clock and have our supper, and Don and Jerry'd come over and have hot dogs.
What'd you think of their French fries? That's what I want to know.
Oh, that's where I learned to put vinegar on my French fries.
Me too. Me
I
too.
know about those French fries. Those were real potatoes back then. When the fire department, Sugar Grove Fire Department, had a concession stand, Saturday mornings, there was a crew in the fire hall peeling potatoes, real potatoes. Yeah, vinegar on the French fries. The same people every week. You knew the same people that were there, and they sat in the same place. And don't sit in their seat. There might be trouble. I mean,
Really?
of course, we always had where we wanted to sit too.
What made you go back to the track week after week after week, year after year after year? What was drawing you there, Ryan?
I think the excitement of the speed, the noise.
Yeah.
And of course you had, maybe, I guess, favorite drivers. I wouldn't say favorite driver, but favorite drivers. And yeah, it was the excitement.
Bud Finale in car number 98, leading the pace. 2 laps completed, 23 laps to go with Keith Warner and 20 running second. A spin out by Mark Ross in car number 1 on that.
Joey Chitwood.
Joey Chitwood was there different times.
Motorcycle races, extra stuff other than stock car racing.
There was motorcycle races. I went to those.
Did you?
Oh my God, that's about like watching a tennis match.
Racing at Stateline has lasted for 55 years when most other tracks around here have long been shut down.
I think it all goes back to the original owners that got a fan base, got a car base. That's what I think it goes back to, and it's just continued on. And of course, Franny has paid some decent purses too.
The track wouldn't have lasted without the fans.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're the representative of all those fans.
You know, I can remember Don Frank used to carry planks and cement blocks down front and put another row of seats down front because they'd have such huge crowds. Of course, maybe they didn't have quite the seating capacity they have now, but I mean, they packed the place. And he used to carry cement blocks and planks down. People would be sitting on the restroom roofs. It was a good time of my life. I'd do it again in a heartbeat.